Market to Market is everywhere you are. Subscribe to Market on YouTube, find us on the PBS video app to stream on demand, and add our 3 podcasts on your favorite podcasting app.
So the wheat was already in the ground at that point. I think maybe we were deciding if we were going to go between cotton and sunflowers and soybeans, kind of what our mix was going to be. And we ended up doing a mix of cotton, sunflowers, a few soybeans, and some dryland corn. So we got pretty good diversity this year. So we got hopefully we got our risk mitigated. Right now it's turning hot and dry again. So I'm kind of glad we got the cotton in rotation.
How are you doing on moisture?
We had, believe it or not, before, like, our wheat crop was just super dry, all winter, all spring. At the end of May, we had 10.5 inches over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. A lot of our crops thought they were back, where you are in Iowa or Indiana, or, thought these growing conditions were just great, and they were not working on a root system whatsoever. And then, as typical, the Kansas heat and the Kansas wind hit them, and it was rough on some places. I mean, the corn was turning yellow. It didn't have a root system. It couldn't get to the water. It just looked like it was looked like a major drought. But even though, 4 inches down, there was all the moisture it needed. It just hadn't rooted down into it yet. And but I mean, it's doing better now. So we got harvest through. We didn't have a rain during harvest. We had a sprinkle, I think, but outside of that, we got all the way through harvest without any breakdowns. We didn't get any hail or bad weather, so we got all of our wheat out. It was not that great. I mean, better than what we expected, probably. Of course, I kind of had my expectations set pretty low, so but it was average or just a little under. So, but yeah, so we're working on getting some double crop sunflowers put in right now. All the full season stuff is completely in.
How's the crop look?
Variable.
That's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say good everywhere. Where's that optimism?
Well, the optimism would be there's no poor crop. Variable more from stage of planting. We, had that snowstorm and then we received significant precipitation throughout the rest of April and into the middle part of May that really delayed drills and planters and everyone's field work significantly throughout our whole state. From our standpoint, we really thought around Memorial Day weekend that we were going to have at least 25% of our farm in prevent plant, that there was just no way we were going to get into it. We missed a major system that went through just about 20 miles to the east. It started raining and we missed that, and really was pretty fortunate for our farm. We ended up getting close to 95% planted and seeded. One of the challenges with seeding into those overly wet conditions that occurs is you put it in less than ideal conditions. So there was some furrows not getting closed. There was some certainly compaction issues that we've seen in those tire tracks and coulters, and so it wasn't a perfect stand, not a perfect emergence, but we've stayed fairly moist and the crop has seemed to compensate for it quite well. And but in general, the crop looks pretty good. Corn and soybeans, there's, certainly you have to feel optimistic about the potential, but you also are really concerned about how late this crop is and how small it is. And, certainly going to need a very warm July and August with, sufficient precip and then a late fall.
And you're going to probably need the heat units.
Yeah, we are significantly behind where we should be.
Is there an ideal temp for you, 87, 90, 92, that is best for growing in your area? We have such long days. So, obviously we don't like seeing that temperature go much above 85 degrees, but in our long, lengthy days, it's typical in the month of July and into August that, you have 4 or 5 hours that are in the 90s.
I seem to remember in our earlier conversation, it was, and in the pictures that we showed, you had things hooked up ready to go and seed. And you were like, well, I'm not really sure if we should. At the time, it was like, yeah, we'll get our window. Was there anybody that actually put something in on that one afternoon in April where it was good to go? And how does that look?
So I would say there was probably 2 afternoons, and literally 2 afternoons, that some land did get seeded, and it was spring wheat. The fields that I've seen that did get seeded in that little window, and they actually look phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, they're the best looking crops around. And sometimes that isn't the case, when you lay under snow for 10 days and then you just, that cool, wet conditions and all that. But no, the crop came through that, really, really well. So whenever you drive by the neighbors' fields that did do that, you certainly wish they would have pulled the trigger at least on a few acres on that. So
the full discussion with Paul Thomas and Cameron Peirce is available now on our YouTube channel as the MTOM podcast. New episodes come out each Tuesday.